Hey!
Are you religious? Are you religious? Please come over here.
Hey! Get off the phone!
There's only one copy. They're trying to enslave me. I got a band here. And look at that. They're trying to enslave me. On my, look here. They've been after me.
Man, put those scissors down.
You're going to have to shoot me, nigga.
Put those scissors down.
No, you're not taking shoot me. You're not taking shoot me. You're going to have to shoot me. Please, man, call 911.
Put those scissors down.
You hold the phone like
Hey, put those scissors down.
You're going to have to shoot me.
Put those down. Put those down.
You're going to have to shoot me.
Hey, go back over there.
You're going to have to shoot and kill me. You're going to have to shoot and kill me. You ain't taking me. Enslaving me, bitch.
104 headquarters, 1033 the channel. Give me a supervisor over here. We got a white female. She has scissors.
You ain't calling. You ain't calling.
Hey, if you come over here, I will kill you.
Okay, kill.
Drop the scissors. Drop the scissors. Shots fired. Shots fired. White female on the ground. Still got scissors in her hands. Shots fired. Shots fired. Drop the scissors.
Signal 15.
Drop the scissors. Hey, back up. Everybody back up. Hey, get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Hurry up. Go that way. Go that way. Ma'am, drop the scissors, please. Drop the scissors, ma'am, please.
Umbrella. She's up. She's up. Whole nother level of shit you can't even understand.
What is good, my people? We are live back again with another episode of The Forecast. Now, we as a people have to relearn how to look out for each other. We have to relearn how to protect each other. Instead of giving everybody else a pass, we have to learn how to give each other a pass. Because when it comes down to it, we are all we got. And we can't afford any more divisions. Especially right now, we cannot afford gender wars. Somehow we have to get over our trauma and start giving each other the benefit of the doubt. Because if black men and women don't get on code with each other, we cannot destroy this system. There's a reason why the very first black institution they destroyed was the black family. Because if the black family is destroyed, the black community is destroyed. And other groups have problems. A lot of people like to say black people are the only ones that do such and such. But other people do the same thing. It's just that we cannot afford it. And at the end of the day, with these other groups, no matter what they're fighting about, when it comes to their women and black men, they immediately get on code. And they will go out of the way to protect them by any means necessary. Back in 1910 in Dallas, a brother named Allen Brooks was lynched after he was falsely accused. Now, this brother was working for a white family, and then one day they accused him of raping their 2-year-old daughter. And even though he denied it and there was no evidence, he was arrested anyway. Then a mob started gathering at the jail, so they had to move him to another city. Then on the day he had to go to court, a mob started gathering outside the courthouse, just waiting to lynch him. The mob grew to around 1,000 by the time the trial started. Then in the middle of the trial, the mob broke into the courthouse and they grabbed his brother Allen Brooks. They tied a rope around his brother's neck and threw him out the second-story window. Now, some people believe he died after the fall, but the brother could have still been alive, just unconscious. Then the mob just started defiling his body. They started stabbing him and stomping on his head. And by the time the mob grew to around 3,000, they tied a rope around his brother's neck and tied him to a car and then drug his body for a half a mile. And by then, the crowd got up to about 5,000 people. And then they hung this brother from a telephone pole. A lot of them took pieces of the rope and pieces of his clothes as souvenirs, and most likely took pieces of his body for souvenirs. And then the court said since the mob had killed him, that the case was dismissed. And then after they lynched his brother Allen Brooks, the mob still wanted blood. And even though by 1908, postcards of lynchings was illegal, they were still sending postcards of his brother Allen Brooks being lynched through the mail. And of course, nobody was ever charged or punished for any of it. Because all they need is an accusation. They don't even need it to be true. And they're ready to stand up and protect each other by any means necessary. But until we start developing that mentality, we'll keep going through the same thing. And it's not just the dominant society. Other groups do the same thing. In Oklahoma, a brother Albert Thomas and his cousin Dajon Ross was shot by a Mexican dude, Manuel Quezade, because this brother, a black man, was dating his daughter.
First at noon, Rogers County deputies arrest 2 people following a double homicide in a neighborhood just east of Owasso.
News on 6's Mallory Thomas spoke with deputies about the two people they now have in custody.
Rogers County Sheriff Scott Walton says that the names of those two people that have been arrested for this double homicide are husband and wife Manuel and Angelica Quezada. Now, deputies say that they were called out to the home near 76th Street North and 177th East Avenue. When they got here, they saw Manuel Quezada in the street with a visible gun in his back pocket. Deputies arrested him on the scene, and they also arrested Angelica Quezada for accessory to murder. Deputies were first called out there to the scene around 10 o'clock last night for reports of shots fired. When they arrived, they found one victim on the ground and another in the driver's seat of a car in the driveway. Both people were taken to the hospital where they later died.
We had one male victim laying in the street behind the car, another male victim of a shooting inside the driver's seat.
We know that Manuel Quezada was taken into custody for 2 counts of first-degree murder. We don't know yet the connection between Quezada and the 2 victims. The names of those victims have not yet been released.
Now, this brother Albert Thomas was dating this Mexican girl, Samantha, and him and his cousin, Dajon Ross, went to pick her up so they can go to the movies. Now, this brother was dating his Mexican girl for 2 years, but he had never met her father. And of course, this Mexican dude, thinking he's a part of white supremacy, said he didn't want his daughter associating with black people, period. So when his brother Albert Thomas finally met her dad, they ended up getting into an argument. Then this Mexican dude, Manuel Quezada, pulled out his gun and shot this brother. Then he went and shot his cousin, Dajon Ross, and this brother was still sitting in the car. When the police got there, this Mexican dude was just standing in the street with a gun in his back pocket. And his brother Albert Thomas was on the ground, while his cousin was still in the car. Now, the police did arrest him and charged him with homicide, but of course they're acting clueless, like they have no idea what the motive could have been.
Memories is hard. It's hard to say you're going to remember somebody. I don't want to remember him. I want him to be here with me.
The family of 2 men killed in Rogers County trying to figure out how to go on. They say Albert Thomas and his cousin Dajon Ross were picking up Thomas's girlfriend when her father shot and killed both men. Tonight, 2 Works for You's Katie Kelleher tells us what investigators say happened and how the family is reacting.
Mike, the family is understandably very upset. I spoke with Thomas's aunt, who says they are good kids, and she feels like she's in the middle of a nightmare while she's awake.
I ain't never felt no pain like this in my whole life, ever.
Alita Thomas had just spoken to her nephew, Albert Thomas, about dinner plans Tuesday night. Later, she got a call saying he and her cousin, Dajon Ross, had been shot by 47-year-old Manuel Quezada, the father of Albert's girlfriend. According to Alita, Albert and Manuel had never met because Manuel did not want Albert dating his daughter. Manuel is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. His wife, 45-year-old Angelica Quezada, was also arrested on 1 count of accessory to murder. The Rogers County Sheriff says this type of incident is rare for the area.
A homicide is a pretty alarming thing. A double homicide is twice as alarming.
Alita and the family heartbroken by this incident, saying both boys were good kids, not involved in any trouble. Now a hole left behind.
We ain't gonna be able to sit at the table with Dajon and teach him how to play phase 10 over and over again. We're not gonna be able to do that because somebody hated them and didn't even know them and took their life from them.
So far, no court date has been set.
Now, not only did they arrest this Mexican dude and charge him with homicide, they ended up arresting his wife and charging her with accessory to murder. And even though it was the first night this brother met his girlfriend's dad after 2 years, this Mexican dude killed him in cold blood. But somehow, even though he said it himself, the police cannot figure out the motivation.
Be in prison, but they got life. They can write letters or correspond. I can't write no letter. I can't write no letter to the cemetery and be like, hey, Albert. I can't do that.
Good evening. First at 5 o'clock, 2 people are dead and 2 more are in the Rogers County Jail tonight after a double murder that happened outside Owasso.
The victim's family tells us the 2 boys were going to pick up the suspect's daughter to go to the movies. News on 6's Amy Kaufman is live with their reaction.
Well, Brian and Lori, family members tell me that one of the victims had been dating the suspect's daughter for the past 2 years, but this is the first time he met her dad. Now, the Rogers County Sheriff's Office says they're still working to piece it all together.
She said she heard gunshots and she didn't know what to do. And I said, Mom, hang up, call the police now.
Carrie Thomas says her mom heard arguing outside, then several gunshots, and called her right away. She says when she got there, she was surprised to see the street she grew up on like this.
And it was just wall-to-wall police deputies.
Deputies responded to the Owasso home in western Rogers County around 10 last night. They say one victim was lying on the ground with a gunshot wound, the other was inside the car, and the suspect, Manuel Quezade, was in the driveway with a gun in his back pocket.
The questions I think that we all would have on this, I mean, what's it really about? Where have they been? Let's find out a little bit about, our suspects and our victims both.
Family members tell us Albert Thomas and Dajon Ross were picking up Quezade's daughter Samantha to go to the movies. They say this was the first time Albert met Sam's dad.
Albert had never even met the man because he would always tell her that he didn't want her being around black people. He never met the dad ever until last night. And this man killed him in cold blood.
Thomas says her nephew and Quezade's daughter have been inseparable for the past 2 years, and she doesn't understand why this man took her family members away from her.
We gotta bury a kid. We gotta bury 2 kids. They didn't deserve none of this.
Now, deputies arrested Quezada on 2 counts of first-degree murder and his wife Angelica for accessory to murder. Now, the probable cause affidavit says the daughter told her parents, "Get away from me, you both are going to jail," right after the shooting.
Now, their court date hasn't been set yet, but they will not admit his motives because they feel the same way. His mindset comes from the mindset of the dominant society. To admit his motives would be to admit their motives. But other groups feel the exact same way. Even some of them who you think are cool, ask them to hook you up with a Mexican girl and see what happens. Because they stay on code. But we have to start having that code for each other. No matter what our disagreements are, we have to have each other's back. And instead of being so forgiving and so passive and so nice and giving so many chances to everybody else, we need to start doing that for each other. Because at the end of the day, we really don't have any other choice. We are all we got. And until we start doing that, we are going to stay in the same position that we are in.
Why would you wear that? Come on. I can't believe y'all did some shit. I can't fucking yeah.
I'm sorry? What are you trying to say? I can't throw away the trash? You can't throw away your trash in our bins.
Yes, I can.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can. Could you please leave me alone or I'll call the police? You're harassing me. You are harassing me. Thank you very much.
It's 911.
Okay, I will. Got a racist lady here.
That's a big mistake on your part.
Oh, okay. Call. Look. Throwing away the trash. You know, you're gonna be instantly famous. Hi. You're gonna be instantly famous. You know that, young lady? Come on. Here, let me close the door for you. See how much of a gentleman I'm being for you?
That's
Florida.
not paying across the door.
You're excused.
What's your name and what are you doing?
Please, you're excused, ma'am.
Do you
You're
work
harassing
here?
me. You are harassing me. I will call the police
Call the
if you don't
police.
leave. Okay?
Call the
Thank you.
police.
What is your name?
Martha, what's
Show me your
name?
license. Do you live here?
Show me your license.
Show me yours.
Show me yours and I'll show you
No.
mine.
Wow. This is Florida, folks.
It's on the
Yeah. Here we go, Martha.
We have to pay
Vero
extra
Beach.
for people to come clean
Okay.
out.
And we pay extra too. All right. Why do you don't think I live here? Because of the way I look?
Because
Why?
until 2 weeks ago, I was president of the Homeowners Association. And to my knowledge, I know everybody who lives here.
Okay.
That's the only
So
thing.
why did you assume that I don't live here because you don't know me?
Because there's only 42 buildings.
Only 42 buildings. You knew every single person in 42 buildings?
Where do you live?
Huh? Do you know every single person in 42 buildings, ma'am? Thank you very much. I rest my case. Do me a favor. Enjoy the rest of your day. Stop with the fake laugh and just go. All right?
It's not a fake laugh. I think it's
Enjoy your day.
funny. I mean, we have this happen all the time.
All right.
You're not alone.
I feel sorry for you.
You're wrong.
Don't worry about it.
Oh, you got a dash.
Have a good day. Racist people at the best. Here in Florida. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Look, she's chasing me. Look at her. She's trying to get in the way. She won't even let me go. My gosh. She's taking pictures. There's no tag on the front. Please. Out the way. I will. Come on. Can you please get out the way? Please get out the way, ma'am. Please get out the way. For what? Excuse me. Out the way. What is wrong with you? You really, what is wrong with you? Are you serious? Wow. This is 2019 for crying out loud, and I can't even throw away my trash without getting harassed by you? Seriously? I have to go. Ma'am, please get out the way. This is ridiculous. I can't even believe this. Here she is calling the police. All right, ma'am. Listen up. Ma'am, can you call the police for me, please? I can't stand this. Can you call the police for me, please? Are you another one? Yes, I do. Don't worry about it. I don't need to prove to you guys that I live here.
Actually,
Please.
you do.
No, you don't. I'm serious. This is
Actually-
ridiculous. Call the police, ma'am. Yes, because this is ridiculous. I'm throwing away my trash and you guys, she's blocking me. I do.
Where do you live?
I don't need to prove to you where I live. Where do you live? You know what? You're right. This is ridiculous. Please ask her, ma'am. Why does she not think I live here? You guys are ganging up on me because I'm dark-skinned in the neighborhood and you don't know who I am. Thank you so much, ma'am. This is ridiculous. This is 2019.
Bond is $1,000. Are you requesting a court-appointed lawyer?
Yeah.
Give me a yes or a no.
Yeah.
Is there something you don't understand about give me a yes, or a no? I don't expect anything but a yes or a no. Not a maybe so, or a yeah, or anything else. Yeah. Or something. I heard what you said. Your bond just went up to $2,000.
A viewer asking for our help. She sent this video of another woman's arrest and asked us to, in her words, please get justice for the woman and her kids. Ashley Osborne talked to the woman that you will see in this video and the sheriff's office about the situation.
The cell phone video you just watched was taken by a man who says he was just walking by when he saw the woman being put in handcuffs close to where I am here on Sandbar Ferry Road in Augusta. The woman who sent us the video asked to be kept anonymous. She says she sent it because she, quote, does not believe in excessive force.
I'm 110 pounds. Get off of me with your weight.
Cell phone video shows Richmond County Sheriff's Deputy Todd Beasley arrest Sharita Jackson in front of her kids.
Man, this man here is reckless. Say jit.
Can't even let me get my shoe. What the He's trying to give me my shoe, bro. Don't snap that from my...
Hey, man, what the hell is you doing, man? Why this man out of pocket, boy?
The cell phone video does not show what happened before the arrest. Deputy Beasley recorded what he says happened in an incident report. He writes he was dispatched to the Family Dollar on Sandbar Ferry Road. An employee told him they wanted to ban Jackson from the property. The deputy says he saw Jackson walking west on Sandbar Ferry Road with her 2 children carrying items purchased from Family Dollar. According to the deputy, Jackson was less than cooperative and would not identify herself. He says he advised her that he would have to arrest her for obstruction and then call defects for her children if she did not comply. And Deputy Beasley says Jackson resisted arrest and he warned her that he would have to put her on the ground if she kept resisting. He writes the suspect continued to resist and scream for help.
Come on, bro. Get the shoe from her little girl. This man crazy as hell.
The incident report says the children were turned over to Richmond County defects. The deputy notes body-worn camera video is available. The sheriff's office says they will not release that footage since it's part of the ongoing investigation. We requested an interview with Sheriff Roundtree about the incident. We were told the sheriff has been made aware of the video. He says a complaint was filed today in Internal Affairs, and as with all complaints, it is being investigated. We have spoken to Sharita Jackson today. She is no longer in jail. She does, though, face a misdemeanor charge of obstruction of a law enforcement officer. We talked to the manager at Family Dollar. He tells us they're not allowed to talk to the media and instructed us to contact their corporate office, which we did. Sharita Jackson was arrested as she walked home from a store where she bought snacks for her kids. You can see in this video, she is black, the deputy is white. But Jackson emphasized to me that she doesn't want people to see this as a race thing. She says it's simply a human thing. She believes her arrest was unlawful because she says no person, no matter their race, should have been treated that way. Sharita Jackson used to work at Family Dollar on Sandbar Ferry Road and says ever since she left, there's been animosity between her and management.
Without an active trespass from the sheriff or without something from loss prevention saying I was stealing, they have no right to ban me from the store.
After school on Thursday, her kids wanted snacks, so she went to Family Dollar, paid, and left. The Richmond County incident report says Deputy Todd Beasley responded in reference to trouble with a subject.
Hops out the car, identify yourself. Excuse me? I'm feeling like, what did I do? Identify yourself. Identify yourself or your children will be taken into custody and you will be arrested. Just like that. What's going on, sir? Like, you know, I need to know what's going on. We're just walking home. We haven't done anything. No explanation needed. No argument needed. Identify yourself. I could identify myself, but again, I haven't done anything wrong.
He wrote, I think, 3 times That he told you if you resisted, he was going to have to put you on the ground, then you continued to resist, and screamed for help. Do you believe you resisted arrest?
I do not believe I resisted arrest.
How come?
The officer didn't even give me a chance to explain the situation before he put the handcuffs on me. If he would have listened to me say that corporate, said that I can be there, maybe if he would have even taken the time to allow me to call corporate, if he would have even taken me back to the store, there were so many other options. The officer did not give me those options.
Jackson spent a night in jail for obstruction of a law enforcement officer and says DFACS allowed her children to stay with her daughter's teacher.
The school administrators on both sides, the elementary school and the middle school, vouched for me as a good mother. And so instead of DFACS holding my children for 45 days, they gave them back as soon as I got out.
How are they doing? Because that was pretty stressful for them. How are they doing?
They are not well. My son, he sits in silence, which makes it worse because I don't know how he's feeling. And my 5-year-old cries over everything. She's never been so sensitive. She's always been a tough cookie. Any and every little thing makes her cry.
Mommy, please, you okay without us?
And it was just a horrible experience. In 39 years of my life, I've never been arrested. I'm not a criminal. I've never had DFACS case. And because someone doesn't like me and my family have to go through this.
Activists say officers crossed a line when they arrested and hurt a 14-year-old boy. But tonight, the mayor has something that he wants to share with everyone. Andrea Lucia live in McKinney tonight with that. Andrea?
Now, McKinney's mayor says what most people have seen, short video clips, don't tell the full story of what happened here. He said they don't show the extent that officers went to try to avoid making an arrest for criminal trespass. And it's why he agreed to release nearly 15 minutes of footage to us.
Hey, man, stop cussing.
I don't want you to talk to me right now.
Leave the property, man.
This newly released body cam video shows McKinney police officers spent at least 9 minutes trying to get Jasper Miller and his friends to leave this theater Saturday night.
This is not a request.
After a manager kicked them out for being disruptive.
Hey, call a ride or get off the property.
In the video, an officer urges the 14-year-old to comply.
I promise you, you don't want to do this, man.
After repeated requests, he approaches the teen.
Hey, stop. Stop.
Who runs away.
Stop. Police.
Moments later, Jasper is back.
I'm not asking to come here. You need to walk over here, man.
What am I walking over for?
Because I'm going to arrest you. You're under arrest. Walk over here.
Whoa, I'm under arrest.
Yeah.
Finally, the officer grabs him. It's during this arrest Jasper's family told us the freshman football player from Allen suffered a separated shoulder.
And he pulls it, and I felt it pop, and I couldn't do anything. I was just in shock.
When you hear that as a mayor of a city, I'm immediately on the phone with our city manager, our police chief.
Mayor George Fuller says after watching the entire body cam footage, he thought the public should see it too.
We have a false narrative being perpetuated.
Well, we offered to show the entire video to Jasper's family for their reaction. I'm told they are awaiting advice from their attorney. The Next Generation Action Network, though, told us it continues to believe that racial bias played a role in the arrest and that it is the city misrepresenting things.
In my opinion, the picture was innocent until somebody made it wrong.
Somebody made it wrong. That's what Jasmine Bates, a freshman at Lebanon High School, says happened Saturday night when a girl she had just met posted this photo on Snapchat. In it, Jasmine and other white kids are wearing black face paint. A caption read #N-word gang with the full N-word spelled out.
I didn't even know that the picture was posted until Sunday morning.
First, let's back up. How did this picture even happen? Jasmine says it started when the kids in it volunteered to scare people at a haunted barn, a fundraiser for their school's Future Farmers of America chapter.
All these kids in the picture, they're hardworking kids.
Jasmine's mom, Laura Lewis.
They're probably some of the best in the community.
Jasmine showed up ready to help.
I signed up for the role doing People in Black, and our job was basically to hide. One person hid behind the wall and pounded in the wall and jumped out and scared people.
That's when she says an adult chaperone issued instructions.
So he told us to put our hair back and put our hoods up and have our faces black so that we wouldn't be visible at all.
The kids obeyed, and Jasmine says one wanted to document the moment.
We took a picture, just a group picture, and After everyone walked away, the girl who had took the picture had posted the picture with a caption, hashtag whatever, and the rest of us weren't really aware of what she had said.
The next morning, after a night of Halloween fun, the teen girl woke up to a tidal wave of anger aimed at the racist word and images of white kids in blackface.
When people were blowing up my phone, they would say, "You're disgusting, you're nasty." There was people who death threats and just like lots and lots of insults.
What they did wasn't okay.
The backlash, as KGW found Monday, spread to Lebanon High. Kids and parents were buzzing.
I mean, it's not okay. I just don't understand why people do things like that.
The school's principal warned the girl behind the hashtag could be punished, adding kids not understanding the racist history of blackface wasn't an excuse to brush this under the rug.
I think we need, as a school, to examine the whole idea and educate on the idea of blackface, and though there was a role for it, to understand that that's not acceptable, and I will take that on as principal.
Tonight, Jasmine's mom says all this fallout has scared her daughter.
My daughter hasn't even returned to school since Monday, and we're looking at other options just so we don't have to return to the public school setting.
The whole thing, it just doesn't seem fair to me that all of us are getting blamed and just have to online for the one girl's action.
So we do want to know, we reached out to Lebanon High's principal tonight to ask if there are any updates on that possible punishment or on new ways to educate kids about blackface. We'll let you know when we hear back.
Starbucks is denying claims of racial bias against the former regional manager involved in a high-profile incident at the Center City store last year. Shannon Phillips claims in a new lawsuit that she was fired less than a month after two black men were arrested for just sitting in the store. She alleges the company discriminated against her because she is white in an effort to convince the community it properly responded to the incident. Phillips's lawyer is asking for a jury trial. Starbucks says it is prepared to defend itself in court.
A Delaware police captain claims he was not promoted to chief because he is white. WBOC reports that Dover police captain David Spicer filed a lawsuit claiming he was more qualified than the man who got the job, former deputy chief Marvin Maley, who is black. Spicer says he has more degrees, training, and experience. Dover's mayor, Maley, and several other defendants named in the lawsuit have declined to comment.
The House Ethics Committee has decided to launch an official investigation into California Democrat Katie Hill. Hill, the vice chairwoman of the House Oversight Committee, has been accused of engaging in an improper relationship with a congressional staffer, among other things. The investigation sparked after shocking photos of Hill surfaced online. One of them of Hill brushing a campaign staffer's hair, 22-year-old Morgan Desjardins, who then engaged in a three-way relationship with Hill and her husband. Another compromising photo surfaced also from the Daily Mail that shows a woman who they identify as Hill smoking a bong and revealing a tattoo of a Nazi-era Iron Cross on her bikini line. The picture was taken in 2017 before marijuana was legalized recreationally in California. According to the Daily Mail, Hill has criticized racist Facebook posts that included a similar-looking cross, calling it hateful rhetoric that helps fuel violence across America. Hill admitted yesterday to her affair with Desjardins, but is now being accused of having an improper affair with her legislative director, Graham Kelly. All three pictured together right there on your screen. Hill was elected to Congress in the 2018 midterm election.
Did you see the smoke coming up? What happened just now?
Well, no, because it's resting on some paper, and so I didn't want the little tea light to overheat, and then all of a sudden we've got breaking news here at the channel.
I told you if the sprinkler system's come on, I'm done for the day.
Yeah, go. That is not
sitting up here looking like a mop.
Yeah, you don't want sprinkler system and a beautiful weave because they do not go together. Wow, you're beautiful. You said it was a weave, right?
It's not. Oh.
All right, and we back on the forecast. Now, we as a collective have to get out of the poverty mindset. They've instilled a poverty mindset into us so they can keep us in our place. As long as we got to go to them for our food and everything else, then they control us. And they've always used that as a weapon against us. First, they take what's ours, and then they make us being poor a crime. After the 13th Amendment was passed, They made it illegal for black people to be broke, even though all of their institutions are dedicated to keeping us that way. If they found out you were homeless, they would arrest you, your wife, and your children, and then put you back into hard labor with sharecropping. God forbid somebody get hungry and steal a chicken or something. You doing hard labor for life. But then they turn around and paint you as the criminal and tell you to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. But anytime somebody tries to come along and show them the way, then they're made the enemy of the state because they never meant for us to break out of a poverty mindset. They don't want us to be out of their control. Back in 1961, a brother Herbert Lee, who was in the NAACP and a civil rights activist, was shot and killed by a white state legislator in Mississippi. Now, this brother Herbert Lee was an activist for his people and a known civil rights activist in the area, and this white legislator, E.H. Hearst, who was his neighbor, found out he was pro-black. He would constantly pick fights with him. So one day, this brother, who was a cotton farmer, was transporting his cotton gin, and this brother was just sitting in his car, not bothering anybody. Then, out of nowhere, this white boy just approached him with a gun. And then as this white boy was pointing a gun at him, he told him to get out the car. But this brother refused and said, "I'm not getting out the car until you put down the gun." So after he put down the gun, this brother got out of the car, and then this white boy, E.H. Hearst, ran around to his side of the car and just shot this brother point blank range in the face. This brother Herbert Lee body laid in the street for 2 hours until the coroner came. Then this white boy, who was a state legislator, claimed self-defense, and he was never charged. He said this brother Herbert Lee owed him money and then attacked him. They even forced 5 people to testify to back up his story to an all-white grand jury. And of course they ruled it a justifiable homicide because them killing us in their mind is justifiable. Now, some of the witnesses they got were black, and one of them, Lewis Allen, felt guilty. So he ended up telling another activist, Julian Bond, what he had did. So then his brother Lewis Allen met with the FBI and the Civil Rights Commission and told them the truth. But the Justice Department told him they couldn't protect him. So then out of fear, his brother Lewis Allen changed the story back to what he had said before. But by then, the word had already got out that he had told the truth about what happened. So then his brother started getting death threats. He got fired from his job, and people were just randomly attacking him. And this brother just planned on leaving Mississippi with his family, but then he ended up getting arrested. And when the deputy sheriff arrested him, he hit him in the face with a flashlight and broke his jaw. And even though he filed a complaint, it was dismissed. Then the night before he was going to leave town, he went over one of his friend's house. And his friend said he saw 2 cars full of white people following him when he went home around 8:30. So then about 8:35, his wife said she heard 3 shots. And when she looked outside, she didn't see anything. But this brother had ducked under the car and somebody had shot him. And his body was laying there, but she didn't see him. It wasn't until his oldest son got home and tried to move his car and then stepped on his hand did they find his body. And they shot him at point blank range in the face. And they could barely recognize him. And of course nobody was arrested for that either. And the white boy E.H. Hearst kept serving as a legislator in Mississippi, even though he killed his brother in cold blood. Because even though they tell us to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, when we do that, it's a threat to them. And they have to find a way to stop it. But instead, they try to make sure they instill a poverty mindset into us. Because they need us in a position where we're hungry and begging for resources. And will still turn around and kill us if we get hungry and steal a chicken. In Louisiana, a brother Christopher Whitfield was shot and killed by police over chicken and eggs. Now let's go back and see what happened to this brother.
The man shot and killed by an East Louisiana deputy yesterday was accused of stealing from that same gas station in Ethel in 2010. That's also when he was banned from the property, according to the store owner.
Now, in this investigation, the East Louisiana Sheriff's Office is the lead agency on the case. That means they're looking into one of their own. Our Carmen Poe is in the Alert Center with more. Carmen.
And Liz, there isn't a legal requirement that says a third party like Louisiana State Police has to step in on this investigation, but legal experts, they tell us that there could be a perceived conflict of interest from the public that could make the investigation difficult.
We all have a natural tendency to want to do it ourselves, and so I don't fault them for that, but certainly that's not what the best practice is around the country.
The East Feliciana Sheriff's Office says there are no new updates on this case, and while the name of the deputy is still being withheld, East Feliciana officials did tell us the deputy has been with the Sheriff's Office for quite some time, and it's that personal connection to the individual that could have some people in the community weary. Experts say Louisiana State Police are skilled enough to remove doubt in the investigation.
The public can trust that it's been done fairly, without any bias, without any conflict of interest. And I think most agencies that have an officer involved in a shooting probably should hand off to the state police.
Now, Louisiana State Police is assisting the East Feliciana Sheriff's Office in this case.
The family of that man killed by deputies in East Feliciana Parish is called in the Calvary to perhaps help them out with this and try to get answers about what led to this shooting. Our Austin Kemker joins us now with that. Austin, what is Christopher Whitfield's family saying?
Yeah, hey Greg, the family of Whitfield, the man killed by deputies in East Feliciana, are demanding that that deputy that was involved in this case be arrested and charged for his killing. Whitfield was shot after he allegedly stole chicken from a convenience store. Sheriff Jeff Travis told us Deputy Glenn Sims Sr. accidentally shot Whitfield in the back after a brief chase. Nationally known civil rights attorney Ben Crump is now representing the family. He called the Sheriff's Department and the DA to go ahead and press charges.
They charge people in our community with no evidence at all, but to shoot a man running away. He poses no threat to this police officer, and the alleged crime, taking food. We don't kill people in America for being hungry.
While Crump is representing the Whitfield family, no lawsuit has been filed in this case.
Now, this brother Christopher Whitfield, who does suffer from mental illness and is known in the community, went to a Texaco at about 2:30 in the morning. Now, the store manager claimed this brother stole some chicken and eggs from an outside cooler, so they called the police. So when the police pulled up on this brother, who was unarmed, he ended up taking off running. So the police started chasing this unarmed brother over some chicken and eggs, and he ended up chasing this mentally ill brother behind the store. So then the cop Glenn Sims Sr. pulled out his gun and shot at him, what he called a warning shot, which he probably just missed. But then the cop said he caught up with him and grabbed him by the back of his hoodie. So then this cop claimed they got into a struggle, and his brother Christopher Whitfield hit his gun and it accidentally went off and killed him. Now this cop Glenn Sims Sr. said he was struggling and grabbing and fighting his brother, but at the exact same time trying to reholster his gun. But of course with no body cameras, we don't know what happened. And of course this cop is getting his paid vacation, and even though they're supposed to be investigating, they're already caping and justifying this murder.
Following up on that breaking news from earlier this morning, the East Feliciana Parish Sheriff's Office is investigating a deputy-involved shooting in Ethel. Liz Coe is live at the scene near the intersection of LA 19 and 10. She's been there since earlier this morning. Liz, what have you learned?
Lauren, we now know that the deputy, the East Feliciana Parish Sheriff's deputy involved, the one who fired those deadly shots, is now on leave from the agency as this investigation continues. We also know he's a veteran deputy. He's been here for quite some time now. And we did ask the sheriff's office how many years. They couldn't tell us exactly that, but they do know that he has been working here for quite some time. And at East Feliciana Parish Sheriff's Office, Chief Deputy Greg Ferris tells me this all started when two deputies responded to a call about a burglary here at the Texaco gas station on the corner of LA 19 and 10. That was around 2 a.m. Ferris says when the two deputies got here, they met the suspected burglar. Then one of the deputies shot and killed that person. Neither the deputy or the victim have been identified yet. The sheriff's office says they have spoken with the victim's family to let them know about the death. I asked whether anything was stolen inside the gas station, and Ferris told me yes, but can't comment any further on that. We also asked whether the victim had a weapon, and Ferris told us they couldn't comment on that yet either.
Two of our deputies responded to a burglary in progress alarm call, and in the course of that incident, the suspected burglar was fatally shot. I don't have a lot more details right now. Obviously, we're still here investigating it. And along with state police who are assisting us, we'll continue our investigation.
The East Feliciana Parish Sheriff's Office is the lead agency investigating this incident involving its own deputy. Louisiana State Police is the assisting agency. Now, typically, when an officer or deputy involved shooting happens, an outside law enforcement agency like State Police can take the lead in the investigation, but there either has to be a memorandum of understanding in place for that to happen, or if State Police is asked to handle the investigation by that involved agency.
Now, another cop, Houston Frazee, who was there, but they won't say how he was involved or what he did. They're too busy trying to criminalize this brother. But the police didn't want to say this man was just hungry and took some chicken and eggs. And they definitely didn't want to say this brother was unarmed. And they didn't want to say anything about the cop except he's been on the force for a while. And without any of these details, they still ruled that this brother being murdered was accidental, so it was justified. As if people don't go to jail for killing somebody by accident. Even if it was an accident, which most likely it wasn't. But in this case, after investigating themselves, they said it was okay.
Shocking developments in East Feliciana after the sheriff admitted a deadly deputy-involved shooting was accidental and then revealed the deputy involved had a criminal record. Austin Kempker breaks down all we've learned today.
Emotions high as family members of Christopher Whitfield, the man killed in Monday's deputy-involved shooting, demand answers from the East Feliciana Sheriff's Office.
He wasn't protecting the servant. He was killing the servant, which y'all do all the time.
The NAACP calling it just another black man killed by law enforcement.
It's unfortunate that we have a situation that exists today where our black men are in danger by law enforcement. It consistently happens, and it has to stop.
Deputies shot and killed Whitfield behind a gas station in Ethel. Sheriff Jeff Travis confirmed today Whitfield had taken raw chicken and eggs from the store. The sheriff said deputies tried to stop Whitfield, even firing a warning shot into the ground while chasing after him.
Deputy Sims was able to grab the burglar by the back of the hoodie. Deputy Sims and the burglar struggled as Deputy Sims attempted to holster his weapon in order to have both hands free to subdue the burglar. The burglar struck the pistol while Deputy Sims was attempting to holster it. The pistol accidentally discharged. The bullet struck the burglar in the right side of the lower back and did not exit.
Travis said the deputy who killed Whitfield is Glenn Sims Sr. He has been placed on administrative leave. Sims does have a criminal record, including illegal discharge of a weapon, simple battery, and resisting an officer. Now, as far as the investigation goes, Travis doubled down on not turning it over to the state police. He says he's confident in his department's ability to handle this matter fairly.
The people of this parish elect me to be their sheriff. There has not been one impropriety or anything that would lend anyone to think that there's anything dishonest or nothing but integrity in this office.
The family, not so much.
But justice will be served. God got me. He got me. He gonna keep me in his arms. But I'm gonna get justice for my baby. If it means going to my grave, I'm gonna get justice for my baby.
The sheriff says he will turn over all files to the district attorney for the investigation. The DA will then decide whether to take that case to a grand jury.
Now, it's well known that this brother had a mental illness and the police knew it. And even though they were supposed to be struggling while this cop was holstering his gun, and this brother accidentally brushed against the gun, he still ended up getting shot in the lower back. So somehow he hit his gun and the bullet went around his body and went into his back. And then as much as they try to criminalize this brother, it turns out this cop is the one with the criminal history. And even though the cop is the one with the record, of course they justify this murder. Because that's how America works. They try to create conditions and then blame us for the conditions they created. And say it's our fault. It's a lack of morality. And it is a lack of morality, but it ain't us. But when we start getting on code and understanding we don't have any other choice but to support each other, then we'll be able to do what we have to do. And once we get the right mindset, we can't be stopped. But at the end of the day, we are all we got. And until we get on code and do what we have to do, then the same thing is going to keep happening.
We gotta go, man. We gotta go. Come on. Move it. All right, who's doing the video? We got to be ready now. Kenny is. Let's go. All right, let's go. Now I'm going. Can you get the sound? Can you get my sound? All right, y'all come on in here.
know is when are all of the white people. All right, let's do this.
On count 3, aggravated assault, we the jury find the defendant guilty of aggravated assault. On count 4, violation of oath by public officer, we the jury find the defendant guilty of violation of oath by public officer. On count 5, making a false statement, we the jury find the defendant guilty of making a false statement. On count 6, violation of oath by public officer, we the jury find the defendant guilty of violation of oath by public officer.
Former DeKalb police officer Robert Olson spending the first of many nights to come in jail. Today he was sentenced to 12 years for killing naked, unarmed Air Force veteran Anthony Hill when he responded to a 911 call about a disturbed man. It is a judgment Hill's family has been waiting for more than 4 years to hear. Thousands of you were watching live on our 11 Alive YouTube and Facebook pages as Judge Letitia Deere Jackson sentenced Olson to 20 years, 12 to serve. The former officer faced a maximum of 30 years in prison in the 2015 shooting. It was an emotional day inside the courtroom with tears from family members on both sides. Anthony Hill's mother, father, and sister all spoke passionately from the stand. They asked the judge to give Olson the maximum sentence, saying, not once did he apologize to them for taking Hill's life. The most powerful moment when Anthony Hill Sr. begged Olson just to look at him to show any sign of remorse for killing his son.
Just once I wanted that man to just make eye contact with me. Just, he don't have to say anything, but just your eyes can tell whether or not, listen, I'm sorry, nothing. I stood out in that passageway many a day, just hoping, just once, that I can get just a little bit of eye contact. Nothing. You don't have to say anything to me. Not one time would he look my way. Not just a glance.
After the sentencing, Hill's father referred to the jurors as cowards for not convicting Olson of murder. Meanwhile, Hill's mother reflected on getting at least some measure of justice for her son.
Even though I didn't get what I wanted the maximum. Some time is better than no time. But if I'm truly happy about it, I'm not. But I have to accept what was given.
Olson largely remained stoic throughout today's hearing, his wife bursting into tears only after he was led from the courtroom. The DA hopes that Olson's sentence sends this message: there are other non-lethal options that police can use, and a badge and a gun and a uniform are not a license to kill.
Naperville City Council is addressing a racist incident at a Buffalo Wild Wings. Black families celebrating a birthday say they were asked to move to another table because a white patron didn't want to sit next to them.
Those families publicly sharing their story today. WGN's Kelly Davis live in Naperville with more. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, Joe and Micah. I sat down with the mayor of Naperville ahead of tonight's city council meeting. He says he spoke with the president of Buffalo Wild Wings in person today. He says he is comforted by the fact that the company is taking this racially charged incident very seriously, but also disappointed that it happened at all.
We're going into, 2020, and we still have to deal with, like we stated, systematic racism. That's probably the most surprising part about it.
Justin Vale says during a group dinner at Buffalo Wild Wings last Saturday, managers asked them to switch tables because of their skin color.
He asked me what race I was, and I immediately was appalled. I was astonished. I responded, what does that matter? And so the host said, well, we have a regular customer here who doesn't want to sit around black people.
After going back and forth with management, the group of 6 adults and 12 kids decided to leave. One of the adults posted about the experience on Facebook, and it went viral with thousands of shares. It quickly caught the attention of Naperville's mayor.
It was anger. It was anger, and it was disappointment that this is still happening today. It's just disheartening.
The mayor says the racist incident is serious enough to address at tonight's city council meeting.
I think our community wants to hear from us. I think they should hear from us, that this type of thing is not acceptable in any community. And I think leadership across America needs to explain that to people.
Buffalo Wild Wings fired the 2 managers involved and permanently banned the customer who made the complaint from every restaurant. The company is also conducting sensitivity training, but the families question why staff wasn't already trained.
Forgiveness takes a while. It's a process. And right now, I'm just beginning that process.
You hear about these other stories and you say, doesn't happen around here. This is proof that it does.
The group says they are not pursuing legal action at this time, but they are open to the opportunity of working closely with Buffalo Wild Wings to do everything it can to prevent this from happening again.
It's 6th period English at Iroquois High School. Desks and chairs scatter as a female teacher and a male student trade blows. Watch again. A different angle. The male student appears to push the teacher first, then she fires back with much more force.
I fell over a desk.
14-year-old Cameron Jennings says it all started when the teacher asked him to put away his cell phone.
She was like, "Put your phone up." I was like, "My phone's not bothering nobody, so I gotta put it up." And she was like, "It's bothering me."
Next, he describes a foul-mouthed argument.
She called me a and that's when I called her.
Ending in this explosion.
We just kept going back and forth. And that's when she was like, she said, "I'll throw your little ass out this window." I was like, "You're not ready to throw me out that window." That's when she was like, "Come here and I'll do it." So that's when I walked up to her.
Several sources identified the teacher as Carrie Adams, hired by JCPS in 2016. The district says it wasn't even her room. She was standing in for another teacher. Jennings says they'd had many run-ins in the past, none violent. He was arrested and charged with assault. Adams is out of the classroom for the investigation. Monday's fight marked at least the 3rd reported assault of a staff member here at Iroquois this month.
Well, very concerned. I mean, we're right now overall concerned about the school itself.
We now know there was no security on campus at the school when this happened. A recent split vote by the JCPS Board of Education eliminated all school resource officer positions. The district's trying to build its own security force. The spokesperson said the Guard only responded after the fight.
Obviously investigating that situation and taking action on that, but also going to respond to the school as a whole and make some necessary adjustments in order to correct this.
Students ran from the room in the midst of the chaos. Jennings claims that in the tussle, the teacher kneed him in the groin. The fight ended when he walked to the office.
You don't attack a child like that. Yes, he was wrong. He hit her. Yes, I got on him for that. He was wrong for that. But everything after that, she had plenty of times where she could have left the classroom or she could have called and got assistance.
You're a young man, but you're a man nonetheless who hit a woman. Do you understand how wrong that is?
Yeah.
I've spoken with other Linwood High School students. Some say they've been in this U.S. history teacher's class, and they say they're surprised. This teacher seems to be popular around here. Some students tell me that at the start of the year, he warned students he does not tolerate fighting in his room. But some say what you're about to watch may have been crossing the line. This video shows a Linwood High School teacher putting a sophomore in what the student calls a chokehold. The 10th grader seen here is Andrew Boyd.
I'm over here tapping out, and he's like putting really hard, aggressive gestures, and it's a really tight lock, and I'm tapping on. I'm just seeing little pixels and stuff everywhere.
After asking several times what sounds like, "Are you calm?" The teacher lets go. Boyd says a verbal argument with threats from another student, but no physical contact between the two, turned into this situation last Thursday. The sophomore says he has asked multiple times to be separated from this student.
Requesting for me to be removed from the classroom or for him to be removed from the classroom, and there was nothing done about the situation.
The young man's mother says she knew nothing about the incident when she picked up her sons from school that day.
I picked my baby up at 3 o'clock, and
No one ever informed me. He didn't say anything because he was afraid that I would react.
But the video recorded by another student made its way onto social media and into Mom's hands. These are photos Boyd says shows the bruising left around his neck. The family's attorney says it may be enough for criminal charges against the history teacher.
For the rest of us, if we're placed in a chokehold, it's at least an assault and battery.
In a statement, the Linwood Unified School District says the teacher is on administrative leave while the district works with law enforcement in their investigation. Boyd says he just wants life to return to normal without having to be in the same room as this teacher. Mom wants to be at peace when she drops her boys off at school.
I want to know that my kids are safe. When I take them to and from school, when I put you in the gate, that's your job to protect them. They weren't protecting him. He wasn't giving what's owed to him.
It's a sad reality for this 15-year-old boy that the very place he goes to escape his hardships is also so lonely.
It's like a lot of people judge. People call me like dumb, stupid, kill myself.
For his own safety, we're not identifying who this is. We'll just call him EH. But know this, he's been called the N-word, he's been attacked at school.
He threw my crutches to the ground, and it was like a fight, a big fight. And then I got my head slammed into the water fountain.
And at least twice, those fights were caught on video. EH is the one underneath the pile, goaded into a fight, then ganged up on. The perpetrators were suspended for this, but so was EH, and the attacks kept coming. EH even requested a transfer to another school, but was denied. Over the course of a year, always reassured that things would get better, they didn't.
What would you have wanted the school to do at that point?
To hear what we're saying, to believe us and say that it shouldn't be happening.
Well, the first thing I say to the parents is, we're sorry that you're not having the kind of experience that we want you to have.
Cecil Roach speaks for the school board on this case.
It saddens me in a way. It saddens me as a teacher, as an educator, and as a person. However, I do realize that the issue of racism is an issue that the whole country is facing. So I'm not surprised that it's happening in our schools. Our schools are not immune to that, clearly.
But EH's mom says the school board failed in its duty to protect her son and is suing the board for $1 million, a dollar value she believes sends a message.
I mean, things will happen in the
Roach can't give details about EH's case, but at the board level, he says these matters are taken seriously. Case in point, just this week, 12,000 of the school board staff went through anti-black racism training. Still,
the parent that we've spoken to in this case, when she hears the board say things like, we have zero tolerance for violence, for racism, I mean, I think she would say that's just not true.
Yes, we do have zero tolerance for issues of racism, discrimination, and in whatever forms it takes. However, incidents will happen because, look, incidents happen in society. Our schools are not immune to that.
Brushed it away or...
Not good enough, says EH's mom.
90% of the day, our children are with them. We need to know what is taking place. What is their thoughts? What is the outcome? Not at all. And
EH's mom isn't sure how this latest legal story will end, but she's pretty clear about what she wants.
Someone has to be accountable for these students that are being bullied. Parents are sending their children off to school, and some students don't even get to come home.
You wish people would listen to you?
Yeah, because getting bullied is like the worst thing, the worst feeling.
The courts can move ever so slowly in cases like this. In the meantime, though, EH's troubles far from over. He's moved schools, but the taunts on social media have followed him. Still, he and his mom are hopeful that there is light at the end of the tunnel, that things will change eventually. But those changes can't come soon enough.
A longtime Cass Tech teacher is off the job tonight, accused of making racist remarks in class.
Detroit schools now investigating what exactly happened last Friday in an economics class. Mara McDonald is live downtown. And Mara, you're hearing the teacher made the remarks as a joke?
Well, that's supposedly the context, Kimberly, but what we're hearing from students is that this is a long-term teacher, that he is known for saying provocative things in class, and if that's the case, and if these alleged remarks are true, Well, he's certainly gotten a reaction this time that's landed him in a whole lot of trouble.
At first, it was like disbelief.
When Manisha Hurt's son filled her in on what happened in econ last week, a longtime Cass Tech faculty member who is white got into a conversation with the students, said in a joking tone something that went like this.
He said, well, hell, I'm a racist now. And I know that I'm very insensitive to other races. And then he went on to say that he would come up to the school with a white cloak and a burning cross.
Hurt couldn't believe what she was hearing.
Saying that you would come here with a white cloak and a burning cross, we all know that that symbolizes the KKK, and that's a threat.
She reported it to the school Monday, and this robocall has gone out to parents since.
The district became aware today of allegations involving a Cass Tech teacher who made racially charged comments.
My son said, well, he said it with a smile on his face. I said, it doesn't matter if he had a smile on his face. Did you hear what he said?
For now, this teacher has been put on administrative leave. Manisha thinks that there should be no return. And if there is?
It would say to me what America, honestly, to me, is about is racism. Racism exists. It's real. And to me, I feel like nobody cares.
Back here live, per the school district, yes, this faculty member is on administrative leave. Yes, an investigation into these alleged racist remarks is underway.
That's an unwelcome surprise for a staff member at Compton Elementary School. They found racist graffiti on the walls there. KCAL9's Chris Holmstrom is live at Longfellow Elementary in Compton with how school officials are responding to this. Chris?
Yeah, I can tell you staff took action immediately, and it's likely those vandals broke into the school in the middle of the night, then took off. But as you can imagine, this community is outraged by what happened. Racial vandalism on the walls of Longfellow Elementary in Compton. This is what it looked like when staffers arrived to school on Wednesday morning.
I'm just really shocked. I mean, I'm just really kind of lost for words right about now.
This is a black community. You know, Hispanic community. I don't see why they even come over here and do stuff, something like that.
Staff immediately covered the vandalism and contacted school police. A disturbing thought for many, including Makai Ali, the Compton Unified School District president.
I've been in Compton my entire life, and I've never experienced such a heinous act.
Ali goes on to say this is everything the city of Compton is against.
Violence is what I'm calling this. Racial threats against folks of any color, sexual orientation. It's not going to be tolerated. We're going to get down to the bottom of it. We're going to investigate vociferously and hopefully bring these folks to justice.
These parents agree and have these words for whoever did it.
I just think it's sad that type of stuff is still going on.
If you're watching this right now, I would just say you just go get a life and get a job and just figure out something better to do with your time instead of being racist.
And staff did notify parents. They say they're using this vandalism as a teaching moment for those kids.
Parents in Bridgeton are upset after they say a dump truck driver directed a profanity-laced tirade at a bus driver while young children were boarding the bus. At least one parent also heard a racial slur used. Fox 2's Chris Renier is live in Bridgeton, where he's been talking with everyone involved. Chris.
Sandy, good evening to you. We are at Natural Bridge in Carrollton Court. This is the bus stop where this entire incident allegedly took place this morning. Parents telling us they could clearly hear disturbing language being used.
It made me really angry, actually.
This mom doesn't want her identity revealed, but she does want to tell her story. She was at the bus stop with her 8-year-old daughter when she says a man working for C&B Paving stopped his dump truck for the school bus as it picked up children. She couldn't believe what she says the man said to the school bus driver. The woman took pictures of the driver and his truck. We are not identifying the driver because he isn't charged with a crime.
So what I heard the truck driver say verbatim is, "You effing N-word. Next time, have the effing kids wait." And I just sat there like, oh my God, did he really just say this?
The woman says several young children were at the stop along with parents. Crystal Seifert was there with her daughter. She did not hear a racial slur, but did hear profanity.
I just heard him say, "You could have waited to let those little children on the bus That's effing BS.
Pattonville School District spokesperson Mickey Schoonover says the bus was taking kids to Drummond Elementary School in St. Anne. Schoonover says the bus driver could tell the man was upset, but didn't hear what he was saying because her window was closed. Schoonover tells me an email about the incident was sent to all of the families with kids who use that route. An administrator at Drummond also met with the children who got on at the stop where the incident took place. Schoonover says some of the students knew the man was mad, and at least one child heard some profanity.
To hear that our students and our staff were potentially exposed to abusive and offensive language is disturbing.
I want him fired. I want the bus driver to receive a public apology, as well as the children to receive an apology.
Schoonover says the Pattonville District also notified Bridgeton Police about the incident, retried twice to get a comment from C&B Paving. The person who answered the first time I called did say that she had taken other calls about this issue today and that she would have someone get back to me. However, I am still waiting.
Yeah, and they come, hey, okay, well, I'm videotaping and the police are coming, so everybody better calm down. I came to the house to speak with an adult, and they told me that it would stop. As soon as we came home, they followed us back down here. They're not even playing at the park. They're standing in the parking lot in front of my house. They're not even playing at the park.
When I came here,
they wasn't sitting at the park. They was not sitting at the park.
So how did you just cuss her out? She was in the house with me to come get them.
I don't know. She come down here looking and talking, running smack. So
they've all been standing right here.
That's right. Why are you talking to me?
Then don't send them down here.
Come on, fuck them in them little
right.
Yeah, then don't come down here. Okay, you racist ass bitch. Okay, good. There ain't no reason to come down here. Good. I'm so glad you just did that. Ain't no reason to come down here. Y'all live up there, stay up there. They put their hands on my 7-year-old. I will put my hands on them. Good. Bye. Shit. Good. Don't have them down here. Well, then we'll say what the fuck we want. Okay? So goodbye. Goodbye. She's a kid. Don't talk to her. She's a kid. She is a child. Fuck her.
Spitting that racist shit. Take that on down. Yeah, southern ass fucking uneducated motherfucker.
Yeah, you guys live up front causing problems, beating up on a 7-year-old little girl. Go home. You gonna beat me up? I wish you would. I wish you motherfucking would. You are a kid. I'm not about to put my hands on you. You will go to jail. As a matter of fact, you're about to. I am. I'm calling them bitch. Sure am. Go in the house so we can finish making cookies like a fucking normal family. Let's go. Get in the house.
I see why them kids act like shit.
Whatever you do, just don't touch that car.
I'm not touching your car. I'm taking a picture of a freaking license plate. See, there's this great thing in America where niggers, alright, get fucking arrested for bullshit.
What did you say? Yeah, that's what you get. What did you say? Yeah, leave him alone. Huh? Say that word again.
It's not what?
That's not always dead.
You fucking motherfuckers losers. That's not what? You hear me, motherfuckers? That's not what? You hear me? You motherfuckers are losers. You black motherfuckers are losers.
Damn.
You want to fucking fuck with me?
Dude.
Come on, fuck shit.
Dude.
Black motherfuckers are losers. You just fucking
Dude,
with me.
come on.
Hey,
Come on,
hey,
dude.
hey,
You're gonna hurt yourself,
fuck
man.
off.
Chill, dude.
Fuck off, motherfucker. I don't give a fuck.
Dude,
Hear me?
you don't got your
I wanna
racist about
tell
it.
you
Shit.
That's not what Martin Luther King was fighting for. You fucking mother black fuckers are useless.
Damn, oh man, you're an idiot.
In the
Shut
world.
up, dude.
Oh, yeah. Shut up, dude. You're about to get hurt, dude. You're about to get worked. You are about to get so fucking worked if you don't shut the fuck up.
Martin Luther King was not fighting.
Dude, shut up, man.
I want to tell you something shit, motherfuckers. Listen to me. You losers, listen to me. You are fucking losers, black motherfuckers. You want to fuck with me? Come on over.
Oh, damn. I got that. I got that shit. Oh, damn. I got that.
Man, come on, dude.
All right, everybody leave. Everybody walk away. Damn.
All right, and we back on the forecast. And I want to say RP to the brother Albert Thomas, to the brother Dajon Ross, to the brother Christopher Whitfield, and all our people who have faced injustice. And until we're ready to stand up for each other and get rid of the fear and the poverty mindset and are willing to support each other, then we're going to be subject to the same rules, same laws, and same punishments. And we're going to continue to beg for justice. We don't have a choice but to build our own institutions. We cannot send our children to their schools. We cannot go to their banks. We have to be able to provide our own food. And we can easily build our economy right now. We could nominate and elect the most successful black business people and put them in charge of a committee strictly to fund and help grow black businesses. And we can all support it. But until we're ready to do what we have to do, then we're going to get the same results that we're always got. And we can't afford to be in this position another 100 years from now. Now, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, man, we have got to start standing for something. Or we're going to keep falling for anything.